Good morning, good morning. You can't see me, but I love you. Now I can see you, and welcome to another Wine Steward video. Here we are at the Wine Bar, because we're going to speak especially to what's happening at the Wine Bar this weekend. Wine Bar menu changes absolutely every weekend. The new menu, right here, was published yesterday. Didn't have time to do the video, but certainly had time to get all of these beautiful wines open in order to determine the sequence. Yes, that's my excuse for tasting all of these beauties, even though we've already tasted them with a vendor, chosen them for the store. I want to try them again, of course, but it's also important to put them in a sequence where every wine gets to shine. That's kind of tricky, so I did here early on Thursday morning, uncork them all, and make sure that each one of these wines will have its time of day in your mouth. So let's speak to the Wine Bar in a minute, but first let's try this because it's sitting right out in front of me. This is the sparkling wine of the week on the Wine Bar menu, which we are going to ignore again for a minute. Hard to ignore that though. Wow, beautiful sparkling wine, the likes of which we have never had before, but I'm going to talk about that in a minute, because what I want to tell you, especially you wine club members, or you aspiring wine club members, we have an event just for you this Tuesday. No, it's not our big grand walk around wine bar event that we used to do and will do again. I think after the first of the year we will revive that idea, where we get about 120 of you circulating through this entire room upstairs and down to taste at about 15 different tasting stations with vendors, favorite vendor friends of ours, showing 3 wines each. Yes, that will happen, but not for a while. We want to practice. We want to do a miniature version of that in the meantime, and that's happening this Tuesday night for wine club members only. You can go to thewinesteward.com to sign up today. There is still space. I think we want to put about 50 of you in this room and present to you maybe 15 or so wines, and they are going to be poured at various tasting stations throughout the store, upstairs and down. I will aspire to bake bread for this as well, so you can snack on that while you try some really lovely wines. Now, what are these wines? There is a theme, yes. We have all kinds of ways of buying wine for you. We see vendors nearly every day here at the Wine Steward. I get my notebook out, spit bucket, and pen, and of course a good wine glass. There's one. And the vendor presents wine to me, tells me something about it, gives me pricing. I say that's too expensive, and so they adjust the pricing, and then we say, okay, if we like it, of course, and if we need that kind of thing. So we buy wine a lot that way. We often go to industry tastings in the city. Now that COVID is kind of waning, we are back to going to industry tastings over in San Francisco and Oakland, where a importer's portfolio might be on full display. In other words, all of his or her bottles are uncorked, and I get to go into a big room full of beautiful things to taste there and there and there and there, according to what I think the store might need right now. So it's a great way to do it if you can spare the time to go over there to those industry tastings. Well, you all know that occasionally I get to go to a foreign country and taste over there and ultimately find some wine that we can buy from its importer once I'm back in the United States. There is one other way we buy wine. I am invited to an event back in Virginia, of all places, Winchester, Virginia, which is about an hour west of Dulles Airport. I go there, rent a car, check into a hotel, and the next morning, well, midday, maybe 11 o'clock, all dressed up, I head off to a tasting at an importer's warehouse. This warehouse is located in Winchester, Virginia. This importer invites me to this tasting every year. I think I've gone to Mondovino about 15 or 16 times and I taste, I get to see a room full of about 400 or 500 wines and other goodies, all open for my perusal and the perusal of others like me. Industry people like me come from all over the country to attend this, to choose wine. Well, there's no way you're gonna try 400. My record at this tasting, I think, is about 165 in one day. You stop to eat, you do a lot of spitting, you drink a lot of water, and then you resume. You go back to other wines, other tables. And at any rate, this particular importer brings in wine from over 13 different countries of the world. And we have been to some of those countries with him over the years. So this Mondovino event is where I take a lot of notes, and as I fly back, I put stars and plus signs by all of the wines I'm especially interested in. When I'm on that flight back from Dulles, what else are you gonna do but go through that whole enormous book that notes all of the wines that I experienced. Well, we get some wines that don't even get distributed in California by that importer. In other words, we get them directly. They come as a pallet, and a whole pallet, mixed pallet of wine arrives here about on a quarterly basis, things that I have chosen from that event. And I just thought, because of the preponderance of inventory, in other words, a pallet got here last week, why don't we invite wine club members to taste the new pallet? So it's a pallet sale. We're gonna line up all of these wines. There's 3 cases of this, 2 of that, maybe 10 cases of this wine, and we are gonna sell them that night. I hope we sell out. I don't think we will, but the point is, if you buy a case of wine, we will actually refund your tasting fee of $30. It's only $30 to attend, and you won't even be paying that, or you'll be refunded that amount when you buy a mixed case of these good wines. Again, what are these wines? Well, I told you they're imported, but let's show you just a couple of them. I think there are going to be about 15 of these things, and this will certainly be one of the stars of the show. This is called Gentilhomme. It is a white Burgundy. You might recognize it as something that some of you wine club members got last year. Well, this is the brand new vintage, of which I spoke for 17 cases, I believe. This is a Macon. That means it comes from the deep south part of Burgundy. It's a white Burgundy, 100% Chardonnay, grown in limestone. It's got body, it's got flavor, but it's also got restraint at the same time. It's one of those beautiful white wines that actually has convinced many Chardonnay drinkers, or now no longer Chardonnay drinkers, to come back to Chardonnay, realizing, wow, Chardonnay can taste like this? Oh my God, I never knew. And therefore, we sold a lot of this last year. I made a big gamble and bought a lot of it. It is here. Come to that event and speak for a bunch of this, will you please? I have too much. Anyway, you're gonna like it. Hey, how about this? Here's another white Burgundy. You might recognize this label. Those of you who haunt the Burgundy section will say, hey, the dog label is back. Yeah, but it's a different wine. This one says Bourgogne on it. So this is from farther south in Burgundy, from Chablis. The other wine that we had from this Patricia Racan was a Chablis, an old vine Chablis. And this is what the importer has in stock right now. I tasted it, I like it, and I said, let's do this. It costs less than that Chablis anyway, so it's a nice value. This price is somewhere in the low 20s. And you'll get special pricing that night, even better than wine club pricing. How about that? We want to thank you for buying that case of wine. You're gonna want these wines for the holidays. There's a lot of diversity of food, and of course, people coming over, you know, a lot of different appetites, a lot of different tastes and preferences. Coming through your door, your be-wreathed door during the holidays. I think I just spat, because I've never said be-wreathed before, but I didn't spit that time. At any rate, lots of taste, a lot of ways to make people happy, right? So why not buy a mixed case of all these different wonderful things, and fairly affordable? Nearly everything's gonna be like around 20, 25, maybe a couple things that jump above that. At any rate, this Burgundy's nice. Hey, how about, well, I'll just show you 3 more real quick. But you will say, hey, we've seen that before. Yeah, but it's the new vintage of this wine from Baume de Venise in the Rhone Valley of France. So this is grown near Gigondas, near Vacqueyras, not far from Châteauneuf-du-Pape. And it's the same idea. It's Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre, even with a skosh of white added to it, believe it or not. But this is gorgeous. You've been loving it for years. The new stuff's here. I only spoke for 3 or 4 cases. That's all I could get. So this sale may be the only opportunity for you guys to get a hold of the new bottling of this beautiful Baume de Venise Rouge. How about this? We never do this, so let's do it. I was just in Porto, Portugal, and visited Taylor Fladgate. And Taylor Fladgate, very, very famous port house, also owns, the people who own Taylor Fladgate also own Romeriche, but you never see Romeriche out here on the West Coast. It has other markets. Well, we get some, and this is not just their regular stuff, it is their 20-year-old tawny, meaning what's in here is an average of 20 years old. There might be some that's a little younger, but there's a lot in here that is far, far older than 20 years old. So that's what a 10-year-old, 20-year-old means. It's an average age of that number. So this is a beautiful tawny port. You can open this and enjoy it for the next month and a half, 2 months. It stays good. So tawny ports have kind of become more popular over time, because whereas we don't always drink a whole bottle of port in one night, you don't have to when it's tawny, okay? All right, and one more wine. This is unusual and unusually good. It's a beautiful label. It prices about the same as our entry-level champagnes. It is not champagne. This is actually from South Africa. It's the best sparkling wine I've ever had from South Africa. It's beautiful. You should get in on this. Come to the sale. We still have room. TheWineSteward.com is your way to sign up, okay? Now, quickly, what are we doing on the wine bar? We're doing a white flight that consists of wines that we don't want you to be scared of. What did I call this specifically? 5 Face Your Fears whites. Five Face Your Fears whites. In other words, face your fears. Confront those things that you might be a little afraid of. What might you be afraid of when it comes to wine? It might be the unknown, fear of the unknown. Well, maybe you've never heard of a Sirtico. A Sirtico is arguably the best white grape in Greece, and we're pouring it for you. We want you to confront it, and you will like what you taste. It's bright and vivacious and totally understandable. It's only got a funny name, scary name. Oh, hey, how about this? Chenin Blanc. Maybe you're afraid of the idea of drinking Chenin Blanc because your grandmother used to drink the sweet stuff with a handle on it. And this is the real stuff. This is the good stuff from the Loire Valley of France, from an appellation called Saumur. And so when you say, I want Saumur, we will understand exactly what you want. And then you might say after that, I want Saumur. At any rate, maybe it's good with Saumur, I wonder. But it is 100% Chenin Blanc bone dry. Don't be afraid. This is not your grandmother's wine, all right? Really good stuff. Number 3 on the flight. Ooh, that's spooky. This is what else is spooky about it is it's made of Riesling. It is 100% Riesling from the Willamette Valley of Oregon. Don't be afraid. It is bone dry, and it's got a cute spider on the label. So we thought that would be very, very appropriate for a pre-Halloween wine bar flight. This is made by Petra, and it is really good stuff. And I think it should be nice at Thanksgiving too. If you would allow a spider to be at the table at Thanksgiving time, you should try that Riesling with Thanksgiving dinner. Now, many of you are afraid of this grape called Viognier. You've had Viogniers that are kind of over the top. It can be a rather rambunctious grape variety. So the real trick in winemaking and grape growing is to somehow restrain Viognier, to like turn down the volume on how loud that wine can be. They did it here. This is from Costières de Nîmes in the south of France, very, very near the Mediterranean Sea, and 100% Viognier by a producer known as Gassier, and it's good. Viognier under control. Do not be afraid of Viognier when it's made so thoughtfully. What is this? This is like, what the hell is it? You're scared of what you don't know. You do not see anywhere on this label the grape variety or grape varieties in play. This is in fact made of Chardonnay. No Chardonnay and Riesling. And oh my God, that's a double whammy. Like a lot of fear happens here, but it is actually very intellectual white wine. You will like it, I promise. It's very thought-provoking. It comes from the Cienega Valley down near San Juan Bautista. Thoughtfully made stuff. Really, really good. That's the white wine bar flight. I told you that we have a wonderful sparkling wine on the wine bar menu. I have to make sure. Yes, this is it. This is from our friends Gassier, the same folks who made that Viognier. They also make this sparkling wine. What is cool about it? It's the first ever. I said it's the first ever of its kind that we've ever had in the wine bar or in the store. It is 100% Grenache Blanc. I have never even seen 100% Grenache Blanc sparkling wine until I tasted this beautiful, pure, vibrant, dry, clean. I don't know. I'm out of words. I'm out of descriptors, but it is really, really good. Clean, vibrant, affordable. How about that? By Gassier. All right. Sparkling wine of the week. 100% Grenache Blanc Charmat method, aged on the lees. Good stuff. What else? Hey, how about this? We are always going to do a wine by the glass, a red wine by the glass that is sometimes alternative to what's happening on the flight. Since the flight is a bunch of reds that are beautiful and balanced and not over the top in size, we thought you need a big wine too, don't you? So maybe you want a case of Cab, or a case, yes, you do want a case of Cabernet, don't you? But why don't you have a glass of it first in the form of Canvasback? This is Duckhorn's lesser known project up in Washington State. This Cabernet comes entirely from Red Mountain, which is arguably Washington State's greatest place to grow Cabernet. It's one very roasted slope up there in Washington State, and Canvasback Cabernet by Duckhorn comes from there. Good stuff, nice and dark and hefty. Why did we do that? Because the red flight is not so hefty, but man, it's so perfumey and beautiful, and we want to get you ready for Thanksgiving. Even though Halloween's around the corner, we are starting now with our diatribe on the grape called Gamay, as grown in the wine region called Beaujolais. Beaujolais, I thought I had a map lying around here, and I do not, but Beaujolais is south of Burgundy, and it is where Gamay proliferates, and that's the main red grape happening there. It grows mainly in granite, and it has, within the region of Beaujolais, all these different like neighborhood names. We call them crus, well they do, and so we do. CRU. The 10 crus of Beaujolais are Chirouble and Chenin and Morgon and Moulin Avant and Bruy and Côte de Bruy and Renier and Fleury and I can't remember the other ones right now, but sometimes I can name all 10. At any rate, we are going to show 6, not 5, but 6 Gamay, cru quality Gamay from Beaujolais to you because we want you to get in the mood and we want you to understand that Beaujolais Nouveau is an embarrassment to that region. They are thinking about not making that anymore, but now they're kind of stuck with doing that because a lot of people still expect to see that on their Thanksgiving table. Please don't do the Gamay Beaujolais Nouveau. It is, well, do it ceremonially and then like have a little bit and then go to this stuff. Have this instead on your Thanksgiving table. This is from the region of Chenin, so it does say somewhere on the label that it's also from the region of Beaujolais, but within that region, there's a very site-specific place called Chenin. So 100% Gamay from Chenin. And then we are going to go to Fleury. And man, this wine's pretty. It just got 91 points from the Wine Enthusiast, and it is gorgeous. No barrel going on here at all. It's tank aged, and what a beautiful pop it has going on. You know, all these are going to be shown to you in the Pinot Noir glass because I kind of think of Gamay as Pinot Noir's rustic cousin. Pinot Noir has grown up in Burgundy, and this is south of Burgundy where Gamay is the great. Moulin Avant, perhaps the most famous of the crus of Beaujolais, comes next. It's a little more hefty and dark and a little less ready to drink. I think I would age this one a little while. And then comes, what are we gonna do? Oh, we're gonna go back to Fleury. As a matter of fact, for some reason, luck of the draw, Fleury happens 3 times in this 6 wine flight. But they are all different producers. Each of these Fleuries has a slightly different voice. Even though they're all fragrant as hell, Fleury is thought to be the prettiest of the smells of Beaujolais. And they're all beautiful, but they have different sizes and lengths. And anyway, this is another beautiful one. Well, let's keep mixing it up. Let's go to Juliana. Juliana Vieille Vigne is also listed on the label, and that means the vines are very, very old. In fact, they are head-pruned vines that are over 100 years old, making this wine that should embarrass Burgundy. This is about a $30 wine. I think it's among the more expensive of these rather affordable reds from Beaujolais. But man, it rivals red Burgundy at the same price, or red Burgundy at maybe $40. Burgundy, heads up, this is coming for you. Beautiful Gamay from Juliana. We said we were doing Fleury 3 times, and here in fact is the final Fleury, is the final wine of the flight. This is at the end because it's bigger and darker, and it is built for time. This one is delicious right now. A lot of people who like a bigger red from Beaujolais will appreciate this the most for its size, but I appreciate it especially for what it says now and what it will say even 10 years from now if it's kept in a nice cool cellar. So come in, experience Beaujolais in this beautiful glass 6 ways, face your fears with those white wines, have a happy, happy Halloween, and think about coming to our event next Tuesday, you Wine Club members. Oh, you're not a Wine Club member? Why don't you sign up? We'd love to have you aboard. Thank you. Have a good one. I need a remote control.